Well, hello, and I know what you're thinking, and I am a devastatingly good-looking man. The car is a Quantum Saloon, built 20 years ago by an engineer, and the interior fitted out by the factory. It's a 4-seater saloon, which is very rare in a kit car, and a GRP monocoque, and the donor car is a Ford Fiesta XR2 from 1986. Think about it as a reshelled Fiesta that can't rust. And it's also extremely tough. These things survive some horrendous accidents. Not that I'm advocating the idea, but they really are tough. And this is my last shakedown run before I go on a road trip to Sweden that you'll be joining me on. I wish I could say things are running fine, but we have a little bit of a carburettor problem. It's a bit late to do anything about it before I set off, but this again is a Ford component, and this is the thing we found with the car since we bought it. The actual kit, the structure, the shell, everything's fine. Nothing's wrong with it at all. But we are finding 20-year-old car components that don't normally survive 20 years because the car's normally rusted away, tend to have a shelf life. So for example, we've had to replace the radiator, which I did without the nose cone with the help of my father, and it just fits on the kit in the same way it does on the donor car. Straight onto the bulkhead behind the drop flappy lights that are added. A few other jobs we've done: new springs, shock absorbers. The spring mount on the shock absorber rusted away, so we took the opportunity to change the lot. Fuel consumption's been surprisingly good right up until this recent problem, and it's been doing about 47 miles to the gallon, something like that. And overall, it's been reliable. A few hoses have perished on the coolant system, so I've replaced all of those with silicone items. Again, this is just 20-year-old stuff that's just reached the end of its life. New exhaust, same thing. But the idea I've had is to actually do something of an experiment. I am tired of buying cars, and after a few years I've had to sell them, usually because there's needed some rust welding up somewhere, or it's failed an MOT because of structural problems, but the car's been perfectly fine. In this case, none of that applies. You'd never have to deal with rusted on bolts if you're trying to replace something. And it's simple enough that even a mechanical idiot like me can fix it. So the idea is I'm going to live with this car indefinitely. See if it can see me out. Obviously I'll buy and sell other cars in the meantime, but this is the keeper. This is the car for life. That's the experiment. Can it work? Is it possible? Would I have to change the engine a few times? What's the environmental effect? This is the sort of thing that I want to find out. And you'll be coming up with me on that journey, just as you are on my first big road trip, which is to Sweden. A few more things about the Quantum Saloon. They were built in the 1990s, this one was, and this is number 193 of about 215 to 230 that were built. There's a bit of dispute over the exact numbers, but 215 is a fair estimate. Now, as I mentioned earlier, it's got a GRP composite monocoque, which is 70% stiffer per kilo than steel. It also means that it's never going to rust. So the bits that are going to go on it are things that are mechanical. So theoretically, if you're prepared to do that work, it really is a car for life. That's the experiment. 4 brothers produce the cars. along with a small workforce. Harvey was the designer, and I believe that the Mark I, the coupe, the hatchback version, of which only 17 exist, that was originally a project for his university degree. I mean, what a project! And they developed it into this, the Mark II, the Saloon. And this by many is regarded as the best of the bunch. It's a practical car you can use every day, and a lot of Quantum owners do. The engineer that built this car, he used it as his everyday car. His son that I have met grew up with this car, travelling at first in the backseat, and then he's gone on and he's bought himself a Quantum. That's what these people do. And it's ridiculously cheap. I mean, you can pick them up now on eBay for a couple of £1,000s. And for the engineering involved, a GRP monocoque, I mean, they're basically the same construction as a Formula 1 car. I mean, £2,000 is nothing. And everywhere you go, everybody comments on the car, they ask what it is and they want to know, and everyone's got a smile. And I've never had a bad response to it. It's been absolutely fantastic. That's an upside that I never thought of. I thought it was a pretty sensible looking car, but it really does get noticed, and it doesn't get the same kind of connotations as, say, an Audi or a BMW. People don't make assumptions about you. They just smile and want to know what the car is, and they generally say nice things. And it's a joy, it really is. It just feels special. You're driving along, and every journey feels special. I mean, it works as reliably as the XR2 donor car. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the parts are easy to buy. You're in something that looks a bit special, and it really is a joy to work on. I mean, I'm mechanically absolutely useless, but I had no qualms about changing the radiator and changing the hoses on the coolant system and getting my hands dirty on various other jobs on the car. Anything that's too big, like fitting an exhaust, or too fiddly for me, it's easy to get done because everything's in the same place it was on the donor car. It's that easy. It's sailed through every MOT we've put it in. I've had to replace 2 front tyres and have new wheel bearings fitted. Again, all that's done is made it handle even better. The suspension's the same as the donor car, but what they've done is they've narrowed the mountings at the top and created a little bit of toe-in at the front, which means it's very eager to turn into corners. But the thing just goes around on rails. I wouldn't say it dances around. The difference between handling and grip, mechanical grip, is something that people don't tend to understand. Mechanical grip is the thing that glues you to the road and allows you to go round corners very fast. Handling is the balance of the car, and the donor car kind of limits what you can do with this thing. In terms of comparisons with a modern Fiesta, which is one of the best in its, well, it's the best car in its class, that really does have a really well set up balance. You can feel it dancing through the corners. You can adjust the car with the throttle as well as the steering wheel if you're pressing on through a series of corners. This car has more mechanical grip, not quite the balance and the feeling of dancing around the road, being light on its feet. But the mechanical grip is amazing on the Avon tyres fitted to it. And at the end of the day, how fast do you want to go? I mean, it can keep up with modern traffic. It's quite nippy. It's lightweight. And I'm absolutely smitten with it, to be honest.